She'd found loads of different pictures of boobs and she just put it on a slide and we all kind of looked at it and kind of went, oh, what do we do with this? Kind of, it just sat there like, just looking okay. How did that come about? Where did the passion arise for this to be a career choice for you?
It's kind of all fell in accidentally, really. I'd sort of been interested in charities and campaigning and things for sort of going back to my sort of mid-teens.
So kind of started working with the sex blame, seeing that was really, really important. And like really enjoying speaking to teens and young adults about these things. And then really I just started talking to my friends and explaining the workshops that I'd been running. And they kind of in lots of joking ways were like, oh, I want to do that. Or I'd paid to do a genital model making class. Or I don't know anything about body image or whatever it was that I was talking to the kids about. And they started off as being quite like jokey conversations. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine, I'll run one for you. And then I thought, well actually, if these adults, these are people in their late 20s, early 30s, so they're my friends, who are relatively liberal, open-minded, you'd assume maybe knowledgeable, and then just saying, I don't know any of this stuff. And this is the stuff that we're meant to be teaching 15-year-olds.
So since 2015 I've kind of volunteered in and around sexual health, and it's always been a bit of a frustration of mine that I work with sex ed organisations or sexual health organisations who are there for young people, and yet they don't kind of have a young person's panel, or they don't explicitly try and consult young people whenever they make decisions. So I wanted to start a project that focused specifically on young people's voices in sex ed and getting their opinions and their advice for sex educators, but specifically teachers who might not feel as confident delivering sex ed.
I decided, I found an internship at the Center for Sexual Pleasure and Health, and I said, if I get this internship, I'm just gonna go for it from then on out. And I got it. So
amazing.
Well, we both had really rubbish sex ed at school, so it's something that I've always been interested in. At university, I also did a lot of my work on gender studies, and kind of have always been interested in all of the topics that surround sex and relationships and kind of how they relate to wider society and power dynamics and inequality and relationships between people. So that's why I've always been interested in it. And then what kind of sparked that even further was working in an inner city London school in a sixth form, where I recognised that, you know, sex ed had not changed at all in the 10 years since I've been at school, and it had actually in some places got worse, and some of the things that I was hearing within that sixth form were really worrying. Some language around consent, some gendered behaviour. So from then I was like, I want to do something about this.
I've always talked very openly about sex, and friends that I have that I've known for a long time, they're like, you're always that friend that I can have that I can't have with anyone else. So it's my way of kind of like just expanding the reach and the example of this.
Yeah, so similarly, had really bad sex education at school. I also got pregnant when I was 15, as like I would say a direct result of that lack of education.
What was your experience of sex education growing up?
Shocking.
I remember vividly that the person that gave us sex education was our head of house, or head of whatever it was, and it was a man. And I remember distinctly he was an old man who wore like green sweater vests, and he would pause, it was just like videos that we'd watch, and I remember he'd pause the videos and be like, and he'd laugh, and it made it less awkward, but it also just didn't legitimise what we were doing. It made it seem like it was a DOS lesson, and it wasn't really, it didn't matter. So my family's so weird. So my dad is like a biker, and he was like super reckless. Like we could talk about drugs, we could swear, like we used to have biker parties, and like shit would get broken, and like it was like a rage fest all the time. And then if like we mentioned sex, because like my parents divorced, so I didn't have my mom. So like my first period, like I had to tell my dad, and like I had 2 brothers, and so it was all men in the house and like me. So I have like a lot of masculine energy from this.
No, I just remember like having a science teacher teaching it, and she just was telling us a lot about like ovulation because she just been trying to get pregnant, and I was like, this isn't helpful right now.
Yeah, similarly as a teenager, I'd say it wasn't a topic that I would talk about a lot. I had like a really open family who were always trying to get me to talk to them about sex, but I wasn't really up for it.
So I don't remember very much at all, apart from there was kind of one afternoon where The sixth, so I must have probably been about I don't know, probably about 15, let's guess, 14, 15, and the sixth formers, who were then probably like 16, 17, did a sex education class for us. I think they must have been doing, I don't know, their teacher training or something, and it was just the most embarrassing thing, because there's like 2 years age different, they don't know what they're talking about, not really. They're probably dating some of the people in our class because they're like 17 and 15-year-olds, let's be honest. So that was strange, and other than that, I don't really remember anything.
I went to a Catholic school, so there wasn't even you wasn't even allowed to be taught about contraception and things like that because it would go against the religion.
My school had none. There was no sex education. Everything I learned, I remember my parents gave me a book once, and like, I was a little stupid as a kid, and I had shit reading comprehension. So I just remember fat bodies with squiggly pews in a bathtub, and I was like, wow, what the fuck is this book? And like, what the fuck did they give this to me for? And that's like how my parents talked to me. They were like, take this, and I was like, okay. And so I had none. Like, everything really came from like Googling and like talking to my friends.
Are there any sort of sexual or sex ed related stats and statistics you think anyone should know?
Yes!
70% of young people don't feel prepared when they have their first sexual experience, I think was one of the first things that we learned and we were really shocked by.
It's huge.
But also makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like when you think back on your own feelings of your own first sexual experience and your peers, it's like, yeah, that actually, rings true.
Men are actually more likely to be raped than they are to be falsely accused of rape. Okay, this isn't a very nice stat, but it's also quite an interesting one, because the concern is so much, I might be falsely accused of raping somebody. Ergo, a girl, normally always in this language, will accuse me of doing something I didn't do. And it's like, it's just so rare that that's going to happen. And actually what you should be worried about is violating somebody else, or just rape stats in general, not falsely accused of rape stats.
Statistics for me are kind of like whatever, because I feel like you can sway statistics in any way, but I think like you should know the facts and you should know your options. So like if we're talking about hormonal birth control, like you should know about this stuff, or like even the Plan B pill. Like people don't know that like if you're overweight, like birth control is less effective when you're overweight, and the same with the Plan B pill. I think it's over 176 pounds. It's ineffective completely.
There's also lots of statistics, scarily, about how things like transphobic hate crimes have increased in society, and how people who are gay have like way higher risk of mental health illness and things like that in schools.
Yeah. I was reading the other day, it's kind of obvious really, but people who communicate more about sex have better sex, obviously, and people who have more oral sex report higher sexual satisfaction.
Well, my name is Brianne McGuire. So as you know, I do have a sex podcast. It's called Sex Communication. And we're hosted by a site that I built called Graphic Paint.
So my name is Becky Dunn-Harkett. I'm the founder of the Candid Collective, and we host events and talks and workshops about sex and bodies and relationships for adults in London.
I'm Susie. I founded a project called Teaching the Talk, currently at University of